found another interesting paper here. Type in Miles Mathis Gandhi. And this is a guest writer, another paper by Josh G, who does great work. So, was the fake here a faker? Notes on the Gandhi PSYOP. So, this paper was very interesting, and I was not surprised. After you read enough of Miles Mathis's papers and his guest writers, you will start to understand just how all of this happens. So they're always, a lot of our historical figures, if not pretty much all of them, are not who they are portrayed to be in the mainstream. So there's a lot of people that have kind of learned a little bit more about Gandhi and the fact that he was kind of a pervert. And, well, he was a pervert. He slept with his his 16-year-old niece or something in order to make sure that he wasn't tempted to have relations with her. And then some nights he would. It's very weird, but he's actually even a homosexual. And these are letters between him and this German bodybuilder. Gandhi, India's godlike founding father, was bisexual, according to a new book. Now, they published some letters that were kept by Mr. Kallenbach here and his family, and this is what Gandhi had to say to him. How completely you have taken possession of my body. This is slavery with a vengeance. Your portrait stands on my mantelpiece in the bedroom. The mantelpiece is opposite the bed. And there's some more. I mean, here's the article if you guys want to read through all of the stuff that he was saying to this guy. But they had a relationship together. He left his wife for this man. And this guy, he comes from a wealthy family, okay? And what he was doing was, this is the house that he was born in. It's a mansion, okay? Especially in India. Alright, so he was in the merchant class in India, and this is a 2- or 3-story house with 17 rooms in it, or there's actually a tour of it right here. You can see what this guy on YouTube visited there, and he shows you just how big it is. And this is where he went to school. This is, he actually went to, and then this is one of the houses that he was living in when he was being such a savior to the Indian people. So this is some interesting stuff that people should go through. And so, what was his job? So Gandhi was put into place to be the hero for the people to look to. A lot like with the Smedley Butler paper I went over just in a recent video. They create these heroes for people to get behind when people are starting to get upset with the system. So the Indians, they were starting to get upset with the British colonialism. And they were starting to revolt on their own. Whenever this happens, the ruling class, they need to create a savior or a public figure that's going to give them some, that they're going to look to so that they can co-opt the opposition. Alright, so Gandhi was able to come in, and what was he all about, everybody? If you remember, what was Gandhi famous for? He was famous for non-violent resistance. Okay, so you've got a country of about 1 billion people, and they're getting upset with the British ruling over them, and then all of a sudden you got Gandhi on the scene telling them not to revolt in a violent way. Okay, now eventually India became independent on paper, but if you read this research done by Josh, he will show you that all of the people that came into power while Gandhi was pacifying the masses, they're all a part of the ruling families, and they all went to school in this place in London called the Temple, which was established by the Knights Templar. It's fascinating history. I have to say, when I start digging up all of this stuff and the connections it has back to the Knights Templar and all of the occult roots of all of this stuff. Now, Miles and Josh, they kind of pass over the occult aspect of it as being just kind of theatrics, and there's not much to it. But I disagree with that. I think that the I think the occult aspect of it is much more serious than what they come to believe with what they put in these papers. Because here we have the Theosophical Society. So Gandhi is connected with Theosophy, and he and the other rulers in India have connections to Theosophy, and also they all went to school in a certain place in London called the Temple. And what's interesting about that is all of the people that came out of that place and its connections to the elite British families. So he does a great job connecting all of this. See that the temple was originally the precinct of the Knights Templar, whose temple church was named in honor of Solomon's temple in Jerusalem. The Knights had two halls whose modern successors are the Middle Temple and the Inner Temple Hall. So I can't remember if it was the Middle or the Inner Temple, but the Inner Temple Hall was where Gandhi went to school, and a lot of the people that rule over India and their families, and they came from the wealthy families in India who work with the British royals when they were controlling the country. And so when the people started to get upset with all of this, they created Gandhi to go out there and I don't know exactly how this goes, but they just pick a guy out of the wealthy families and they say, okay, this is going to be your job. The masses, they're getting upset, so we're going to set you over there, and you're going to control all of this, and you're going to be a big, great hero. All right, and that's what they do. They create heroes out of these people when they're not heroic whatsoever. Now, one of the points that he makes in this paper is that a lot of the philosophies and the nonviolent stuff about Gandhi, that's not necessarily nonsense, and there are a lot of useful stuff in the philosophies there, but the main job and the whole point of all of it was to pacify the masses so that they wouldn't revolt, and then they could get in another control structure with the other rulers, and that's what they did. So he does a great job researching all of this stuff and putting it together. And then we have some fake pictures of Gandhi here. All of these are strange paste-ups, and when a lot of times when they're pointing out the fact that these photos are faked, they don't really know why. We could say that it's because they weren't really in these locations, or that they had to provide evidence for this and that, or whatever. But look at this right here, this one. You have the right leg, and then you have the left leg. And it's so weird. Look at the space here. All right, doesn't it seem strange to be sitting in this position? Doesn't it seem like this is not natural? And then you have some other irregularities. You have the turban was pasted in. Oh, we don't know exactly why this was all done. You have multiple pictures of Gandhi that don't look like him. You've got, just compare the ears, okay, the ears of these two. And then you've got the eyebrows and the forehead. None of it really matches. And then you've got this picture here, which is just ridiculous. Look at his hand, okay? Look at the eyebrows. And he breaks all of this down. It's very interesting. And then you've got some more inconsistencies. But they're just pointing out to you that they are faking a lot of this history. And we are being led to believe that these guys are great heroes when they're actually great big scumbags. And they work for the ruling families. They are a part of the ruling families. So, very interesting paper on Gandhi, his homosexuality, and his connections to the power elite. The fact that he was literally educated in the Knights Templar in London, and what he did for India was to make them believe that they were getting their independence when in fact they were just trading it for another control system run by the same people. So very interesting paper. I suggest people check it out.